Hello, and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is Thursday, January 22nd, and we are over in the Bedrock dimension. Just I wanted to see if it rained here, which apparently it does. Also, the rocket from the main world apparently stops the rain, so that's kind of cool. I was throwing a void miner down here for funsies to see what would come from it. Just had a little... Didn't have too much free time at the end of the day to go crazy, and I was waiting some other stuff, so I figured I'd try it out. I don't think it actually works, though, because it just says fails to extract ore if we, click really quick. So, yeah. I am just going to take this and this back, and then I will probably use them elsewhere, and then the rest of the stuff can stay here. It's not hurting anything. This area is not chunk loaded, so as soon as I hop out, it's gonna all shut off. Although, just in case, I don't need this gateway powered either. I think we're just gonna break all these connections for now. But yeah, so that's nothing important here. Just figured I'd show that off as just something interesting. I couldn't remember. I could have swore I saw something about the wiki, but maybe it probably was the Deep Dark or something I was looking at. But anyways, hopping back over into the real world. Where did it put me down? Oh, I recognize the spot. I've never shown this off because this was before I started recording videos. Not that there's anything to show off, but this is where I used to keep my clay bee back before I had any of the ways to keep bees climatized or really mess with their traits. But when I was building the bee building out of brick, I was using this clay bee to be able to build said building. Nothing over here. So today, for the most part, I only did one major thing. Real minor thing would be down here. I did get that turbine that I missed before setting up, hooked up on to be able to get turbines on it, so we are generating a decent amount of power now. Currently, when we generate power, we generate 46 million EU per tick, so that's pretty good. I do expect some giant leaps in that pretty soon, but for the moment, we are net positive, so cannot complain there. And then as for what I actually accomplished today, we gotta hop all the way over here. So where we left off yesterday, I think I cut myself off because I didn't want to ramble too much about the same thing 2 days in a row. But basically, this is my milling building, or milling, processing, whatever you want to call it. Has all the mill stuff. I did not end up getting it set up last night. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I was getting tired, and you shouldn't GTNH when you're tired, because it takes at least for me, sometimes when weird problems pop up, then I can't have solutions. And there are a couple of things that popped up while building this, so kind of go through it. So obviously, just from a basic standpoint, the ores come in, go through the milling, go to the flotation towers, and then ultimately hop over to the vacuum freezers, and and then they pop out all of their resources. But now getting more into what's actually happening here. Now, so obviously I needed an input. I did decide to go with just a standard storage bus with all the ores that we'll need in here with the storage up real high. So I should probably take the redstone ore off there, but I don't even have the thing on here. So the redstone, I'm glad I left this in here. It kind of makes it easier to show. The redstone ore is one of the first problems I ran into. So all of these can go through the Isamill multi-block, no problem. However, when we look at the redstone recipe, I clicked on the wrong one. The redstone, I'll click on specifically this redstone. They come in here, it has all the new GTNH versions, but then I noticed specifically for the overworld cobblestone variant. Oh, this one's not even showing it. But if we go over to this redstone ore, it shows this redstone in there. However, obviously this is the Minecraft redstone, which we don't have access to. We get this version of redstone. Normally, I don't think this normally causes an issue in other recipes, but specifically when I was putting this redstone ore in, the machine would not work. So I did end up having to opt to put the crushed redstone in here instead, which I mean, I've got 7 million. I just didn't want to have to go through the extra processing step because it was just more stuff to do versus just like drop the block ore in is about the only thing. The reason I have one of these quantum gates here though was just to help clear out ore processing of the ores I didn't need over there. I didn't bother going through and like getting all the crushed and what other backlog. I just used these guys to move all the ore over, which this looks goofy. Why does this look like this? So yeah, the ore comes in here. Oh yeah, because this is the blue network. So coming from the quantum, I didn't paint these lines. We have the different ores. As you can see, I have the crushed redstone here. Same all the way down. Now, as it stands right now, I will say I have not moved the netherite portion of this over here. I wanted to see how many channels I had left over before I did. Now that I only have used 9 channels, I probably will move the netherite line, at least this part of the netherite line, over into this building just to have it all together. And I mean, this is, once everything's rolling, this is one of the slower parts of it, so just would help speed things up because like the netherite line I think I have running at ZPM, for example, right now. All these are running at UV. So for over here, the next kind of issues I ran into are these flotation towers. So these went through a couple of iterations. The first major one, so like if we look at a milling, for example, all the recipes are one of the xanthate, dust, and then milling, and then oil. So the original way I set this up was I had the millings coming in, the oil, and then I didn't even think of the stocking input bus to begin with, honestly. So I had like an HV input bus, an ULV input bus, and then this. Turns out these guys do not work if you have more than one input bus. The block just won't form. So like none of these blocks up here were forming. I couldn't figure out why. And then like maybe for some reason it can't take ULV. And then that didn't work when I threw a bigger one in. And I tried it with one. I finally got it to go. As for the way these lines are working, I mean, it's pretty much just over here, the main network's exporting pine oil. Then pine oil's then being brought over to all of them, again, with the exception of the netherite line one. And then this guy over here is exporting the 2 different xanthate dusts. And then just depending on the stocking bus, we get all this. And then this green line, if we hop low, instead of having all this stuff go back out to the network, there's actually 3 different sub-networks down here. Got a sub-network for the outputs of these multi-blocks, a sub-network for the outputs of these multi-blocks, which you can see these ones are the green line, and then a sub-network for these guys. And the only reason I did a sub-network for these guys will show off here once we get below. But actually, speaking of going below, if we hop below here, the second iteration thing I had to fix is that I originally had all these UV energy blocks like here, 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 and here. Turns out just the way these end up working because of how much they overlap, it was trying to like overclock by like 16 amps or something crazy. And then it was just constantly power failing. So I did have to move all the energy blocks to the outer rim. But once I did that, all of my issues kind of disappeared. As you can see, my outputs down here go on this cyan colored line to this network, which I have. These drives are actually for the green network, and then the cyan network's drives are over here, which I don't have any froth in because the vacuum freeze was more than keep up with it. But basically, these come to here. If for some reason we're backed up, we got huge storage buses, and then ultimately they come over to the vacuum freezers. And then the vacuum freezers are here to process the froth. So again, if we follow this through, in this case, nickel millings, go the ore into the Isamill, run it through the pineapple and the xanthate dust. We get the froth. The froth goes into the vacuum furnace, and then we get all these items out, plus some red mud slurry and some water. So all these have void to get rid of the water, and then the red Sorry is coming down over into the centrifuge, which the follow this to red mud sorry. We just get a bunch of small stuff. Instead of clogging the system up with small stuff, I just threw a packager down here, but you can see all these are set here, and you have the schematic. You can throw these on the input bus. I wasn't sure if that was going to work. I didn't really think about it until I did it. I was like, oh, that's cool that it does work. And then ultimately, the vacuum furnaces and this guy output on the red network and back into the main network. And then just an air filter, because these things, the millers in particular, have this guy very polluted. So we got a bunch of different subs, and it's kind of cool that there's this much stuff going on. And ultimately, like I said, we only end up using 9 channels. Another kind of cool thing, so we did, where I could have technically saved more, but I was like, we've got plenty of channels, is 2 of these troughs, I'm going to say it wrong, the chalcopyrite and the sphalerite both can use indium combs to then boost the amount of indium you get out of those. Like if we go to chalcopyrite, we go through the froth, we can see we get indium from this one, but if we use the combs, we get 30 instead. I did throw the indium bee into the mega apiary because I actually was out of indium combs. But if for some reason, like, it is keeping up now, but I don't have any problem turning this back to circuit 1 and not using the bonus, because nothing else in it multiplies, and I do believe we are starting to build up on indium. I thought I had more, but it was a little lower because I actually had ran out of indium cones and didn't realize it. So like that whole process had shut down, but God knows how long it's been shut down for. So yeah, that's this setup. That's all I ended up getting done today. I am pretty happy with the way this turned out, though. It's pretty cool and compact. Think next up, when looking at recipes, I think I want to throw down a bunch of cutting machines, and I really like to do some passives, but the other thing we'll be able to do, so the next like kind of milestone thing I want to knock out is the tier 7 rocket, which before we were being held back by the Lorium casings. But as you see in I have 100 already, so this guy can now be crafted. The whole reason I did that milling building was specifically to get, if we were to follow this back here, to get this rhenium dust and this diso. Luckily, this one comes from the redstone froth, and I can't remember offhand which one this comes from. Oh, the pyro. Oh, miner thing. Speaking of void miners, where we started off, I did throw a void miner in the Twilight Forest because that's where pyro ore is, as well as this almandine, which I'm not even sure what we get from this one. We get yttrium, magnesium, aluminum. So I mean, nothing too fancy, but more resources. And then where we at? Just real, I did start upgrading this guy already, so I upgraded the power over here because this stuff was all running at IV. None of this stuff really matters. It just makes rocket fuel, which we don't need, very fast. And then I did upgrade this guy because now I know how this multi-block works. I should have read the wiki, because originally when I built these things, if we were to look up the Exxon Mobil multi-block, we click on here, it's got a bunch of tiers. Oh, I didn't mean to do layers. Got a bunch of tiers. So I thought they had to be specifically these different coils and stuff. That's actually completely inaccurate. The casings, the machine, or I should say the actual machine casings, the multi-block casings, the machine casings, the coils, and the pipe casings are all independently tiered. So there was a point, this was a while ago, but when I first was setting up those 5 chemical ones or 5 of these that I set up over by ore processing, I originally was going to set this one because I didn't need them to be tier 6, but I tried to follow this exactly, and it ended up not forming for me because I was trying to throw an LUV input hatch on one of them and it wouldn't form, and I couldn't figure out why. So I was just like, screw it, I'll do tier 6. I know this forms on me. And specifically because of the machine casing. So the way this works, just a real quick rundown, The actual multi-block casing is only there for the tier of the recipe. The machine casing is dictates the tier of hatches you can go up to, including the energy hatch. I don't remember what the pipe casing does. And the coil is just for either an energy or a speed thing. I don't remember which way it works. It either makes the recipe run shorter or it uses less energy. Makes the recipe cost less energy, which makes it go shorter, or it makes the recipe shorter and you use the same amount of energy, but it's still faster. Either way, it's just a speed boost, regardless of which way it goes for the energy thing. But this is one of the ones I definitely recommend looking at the wiki if for some reason you're having trouble forming it. But yeah, other than that, that's where I'm at for the day. I think I'm going to upgrade this guy and try to set up tier 7 fuel if I play tonight. If not, I'll get that done tomorrow, and then we'll be taking a look at what planets I need to drop void miners for tier 7, and probably turn our sights right to tier 8, because I feel like there's some tier 8 planets that I've seen that I probably should get void miners on sooner than later as well. So yeah, that's where we're at, and that's where I will leave you till tomorrow. I hope everybody has a good night. If you're in the Midwest, hope you keep warm, because it's about to get that polar vortex, so be safe out there. Good night.